Today's Namaste Yoga is the final class in our Focus Living series on wholehearted dedication. Hello and welcome to episode 305 of Namaste Yoga. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for inviting me into your home where we will spend the next hour journeying into our innermost home. And today we are filming on Remembrance Day here in Canada, and it's actually very close to 11 o'clock in the morning here. And so I'd like to take the first minute of our filming to take a moment of silence together, and we'll do the mudra that we're going to do in our seated practice later, and we'll just take a moment of silence. So you're going to take your your baby finger, your ring finger, and your middle finger together. Your first finger and your thumb point up at your solar plexus, and we'll just sit in silence together in memory of all those who have served and who have brought the intention of peace to our world. Okay, and then take a deep breath in. And let it fall out of your mouth. And you can release the mudra. Thank you for taking that moment to remember with me and to cultivate peace on Remembrance Day here in Canada, in all directions of time. I know that it will be in the past when you do it, when you receive this, but that means a lot to me that we take this time together as our global community recognizes peace in the world. So I want to thank Squeezed Yoga Clothing for my clothes today. Today I am wearing a short bamboo cap sleeve top with a beautiful feathered nature design on the front, and I'm wearing the red long leggings. And also thanks to Dusky Leaf for my props. Today you are going to need pretty much every prop you have. You're going to need blocks, a strap, bolster, and a wall, meditation cushion, folded blanket. Get out all your props, and that will be very useful for you today. Members, if you can practice the upper back rehydration sequence, if you have time, practice the lower back rehydration sequence. Either that or if you don't have as much time, maybe the hand and foot sequence. That'll help to release your upper back and shoulders, and then your hips for today's class, that would be good. I put links in the show notes for that. And then also we're going to be doing a lot of things in today's class to release your shoulders. And at the end of the class, I'm going to give you a really super quick checklist of 3 actionable things that you can do to further release your shoulders. And I'm going to show you how to get that at the end of the class. So I just wanted to let you know that so you can stay tuned all the way to the end of the class, and I'll tell you more about how to get that. I have a testimonial from Edith from YouTube, who answered one of my questions last week on YouTube about how to make space for self-reflection. And she said, just tonight I did a mass unsubscribe on a bunch of emails. And so I love that one actually. Tim just did a huge one for me recently, and it's time to do it again. I don't know, sometimes do you find you get on people's lists even though you don't opt in? That happens to me too. I'm on this one for some recipes that I didn't even sign up for, and then they're coming like multiple times a day, and I don't know. Anyway, so it's called spam. Yeah, it's called spam, Tim says. Anyway, yeah, you have to do that regularly. And then there are ones that I really want to be on, there's some art ones that I want to be on, and then they get lost in those ones that you don't want to be on. So I'm sure you want to be on mine, and then they get lost amongst those ones that you didn't even sign up for. So yeah, you have to unsubscribe from all of those. So she says, not having to go through all my emails will allow me to do self-reflection. I love hearing from you about your practice. And I really love hearing your testimonials on YouTube and Facebook, on our membership community, and on Instagram. I had a great question on Instagram yesterday that I have to answer still about fascia. And it's great. Wherever we hear from you, we do our best to answer you in a timely manner. So thanks for leaving your comments and questions and testimonials. Okay. So we're going to begin with a pretty cool warm-up today to release your hips and your shoulders. So if you want to start lying on your left side, that would be good. You could use a pillow or even your meditation cushion for underneath your head, because you're going to lie with your knees bent at a 90-degree angle and your arms like this. So see when you do that, how your neck is kind of down like this, and we really would like it to be more straight here. So what I'm going to do is just you could put a pillow under your head. I'm just going to stick my meditation cushion under there, and then see how my neck is straight now. And you're going to line up your arms side by side, and we're just going to actually start by opening up our hips. So you're just going to open your hips. I'm sure that's a really flattering image on the screen. And close your hips. And you're going to open your hips. And close your hips. So we're just going to start by releasing your hip joints. So this is going to be really good to create a movement that doesn't usually happen in your hip joints. Great if you have any arthritis in your hips, to lubricate that joint. And it's also going to build strength, because you can probably feel it's taking strength from your outer thigh and your glutes around the hip joint, which is really important, so that you're using the strength of the strong muscles around your hip joint rather than relying on the joint itself. One more like that. Okay, great. And then you're going to slide your right hand forward, which is moving your shoulder blade away from your spine and then back. Glide it forward and glide it back. So this will start to release your shoulders. It's much warmer in here. And then you're going to open your right arm up. Keep your eyes on your left hand on the ground. And then arc it closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And then keep your arms here. You're going to roll your head and roll back. Inhale, roll your head up. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Okay, and then we're going to roll your arms and your neck. So you're going to roll all the way open, follow it with your eyes, roll into a twist, and then roll closed. So you'll notice your neck is a lot more free when you move it with your shoulders. And then we're going to move hips, shoulders, neck, and that's everything. So you're going to move everything. You might want to get rid of this pillow now. So we're going to open, 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 and then close, close, close. So you're going to roll from side to side. Open, 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 close, close, close. It is fun, and it's really good because you're also massaging your whole back while you're doing it. And so Tim mentioned we are filming inside, and when you're inside it's nice because you're not getting all dirty on the ground while you're doing this. Okay, and then we're going to do this whole thing again on the other side. So you can use the pillow to support your neck. I'm going to try it without the pillow this time so you can see my neck is probably already a little bit more straight this time. So we're going to, so we started with the hip. I'm going to use the pillow. Yeah, that's much better. Straight neck, better. Okay, so you're going to start with the hip. So open your hip and close your hip. So the idea is that we're lubricating your hip joint here, creating some movement in that hip joint. We're going to be doing something very similar to this later. So it's a warm-up for a pose that's coming later that's going to be balancing. So if we can do this here while there's no balancing happening on the ground, and with bent legs, later it's going to be with straight legs, then you're just preparing your body for what's going to be happening. So you can give it that wholehearted dedication later. You're preparing your muscles. And that's what we're doing in this whole yoga class too. We're creating that container of practice so that if you can give something wholehearted dedication on your yoga mat, then when you go out into your life, it's easier to come with focus and have that wholehearted dedication to whatever it is you're doing in the moment in your life, whether that's your dishes, being present with your partner or your children or your parents or your friends, or just whatever little chores you have to do during the day or your work. So this is the practice container for wholehearted dedication in your life. One more. Okay, and then breathe in here. Breathe out, glide your left palm away from your right palm so that's your shoulder blade moving away from your spine. Breathe in and glide back. Breathe out, slide. Breathe in and glide back. And then you're going to keep your eyes on your right fingertips on the ground. You're going to inhale, open your left arm up. And then exhale and close. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. One more. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. And then we're going to inhale, open your neck. Exhale and close. So this is creating some counter rotation in your neck. And we'll do one more like that. And then we'll do your neck and your hands. So you're going to inhale, roll all the way onto your back. And exhale and roll back. So you're rolling into the open twist. Try and keep your knees stacked for that. So let's do one more. And then I'm going to just get rid of that pillow and we'll do the rolling with everything. So open your arms and your knees and roll onto your back and then just keep rolling all the way over to the other side. So you're going to roll from side to side and it's the action of pulling your arms and legs open. So that's what rolls you. It's like a momentum that happens. So you roll from side to side. A really nice opening for your hips and your shoulders. And then from here, we're going to come up onto all fours for cat pose. So you can come onto all fours with your knees underneath your shoulders and your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Okay, so start by spreading your fingers nice and wide and reach your weight out into the webs of your hands so it doesn't bother your wrists. If you do have any wrist issues, you can always come up onto your fists or come down onto your forearms, whatever works best for you and your body. And you're going to exhale and round up through your back. And inhale and arch through your back to warm up through your spine. Okay. And we're going to add some legs and arms and twists and stuff to prepare your body for other things that are coming today. So take your left leg out behind you. And then out to the side. And then take your right leg out behind you. And out to the side. And then come back to the center. Take your left arm up and come into thread the needle. So take your left hand between the space between your right wrist and your right knee. Lower your left shoulder down to the ground. Tuck your chin and come into thread the needle to release your shoulder, the back of your neck, release your spine. Taking nice deep breaths here. And then come back to the center. Take your left hand underneath your left shoulder again. And we'll do thread the needle on the other side. So this time you're going to inhale, take your right arm up to the side. And then take your right hand between your left wrist and your left knee. Rotate so that your right shoulder reaches to the ground. Tuck your chin. So you're coming in to thread the needle on your right side. Breathing. And then you're going to inhale and come up. And we're going to do some balancing. So you're going to take your right leg to the back of the mat. And you're actually going to open your right hip up. And you're going to open your right arm up here. And then come back down and around. Lower your right knee down to the ground. Take your left leg back. And you can lift your left hip up. So you could just stay there with both your hands on the ground. Or you can lift up. You could take your left hand to your left hip. So that would be a modification too. Or you could take your left arm all the way up. I'm sorry, I feel like my hair is everywhere today. Even though I keep tucking it. There. So a pose like this with all this balancing, focus on something that's not moving, takes wholehearted dedication. A lot of focus. Okay, and then we'll release that down. And coming onto all fours again, let's just inhale here, tuck your toes under, exhale, reach up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, just a little stretch for your hamstrings here. And then take your right leg up, bend it forward, coming into Ekpad Rajkopatasana, Pigeon Pose. And you're going to fold forward over your bent right knee for a good release through your right hip here. More through the muscles all around the hips than we were doing a lot of releasing for your joints previously. What we're going to do, I'm going to give you a modification for this. That's why I'm coming out. So the modification for this would be to do eye of the needle on your back instead, with your right ankle crossed over your left leg. So do whatever works best for you in your body. If you have any knee issues in particular, this is going to be a lot better, a lot less pressure on your knees. And then you're going to come up and we'll step back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So again, just a little bit of opening through your hamstrings here. Reach your left leg back and up. Bring your left knee forward. Reach your right leg back and long. And you're going to fold forward over your bent left leg. You can do eye of the needle on your back if this is too much for your knees. And then find a way to let this posture out of your body and make your way to a comfortable seated position. So that might be sitting on a block, kneeling, or sitting in a chair for you today, or sitting on your meditation cushion, or you might even want to sit with the support of the wall behind you today. So do what works best for you today. Okay, so today we're going to do the Trimukha Mudra. And this mudra is going to be really beneficial for you to create that wholehearted dedication and focus that we're completing this Focus Living series with, and to bring together all the teachings from the whole series. So it's the one that we did at the beginning for our moment of silence for Remembrance Day. You take your little finger, your ring finger, and your middle finger together. And then the pointer finger just rests at the top and the thumbs point up. You bring it to the level of your solar plexus. Root down through your sit bones. Bring your ears over your shoulders and your shoulders over your hips. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it fall out of your mouth. And allow yourself to arrive here now in a receptive state for receiving the teachings in the final class on the Focus Living series. So let yourself receive these teachings. Let them wash over you. And what resonates and makes sense for you in your life right now, let them come in. Allow yourself to absorb them as they relate to you in your life. And what doesn't make sense, you can just let it go. So this mudra in particular is to increase your devotion and spiritual resolve. And it will activate your body's self-healing power. It reduces headaches and it improves concentration. So we reached the end of our Focus Living series today with the niyama, isvara, pranidhana, which Nichala Joy Devi translates as wholehearted dedication. And I really like that translation. It makes total sense to me. Nikolai Bachman, he translates it, he breaks it down into the two words, isvara. He translates as personal God, which is, sometimes people shy away from that word, but the personal God is just our higher self. It's the spirit within. In the yoga world, I think we translate it more that way. So it's connecting with our own basic goodness, the best part of ourselves. And he unpacks, he talks about pranidhana as an act of humility. So bowing to, namaste is really isvara pranidhana. It's, I bow to the highest good in you. Really. So he unpacks isvara pranidhana as a deep faith in our inner knowledge, which leads us towards enlightenment. Over the last 10 weeks, we've been bringing awareness to so many different aspects of focus through the yams and the niyams. We started with the violence that the lack of focus is causing in our lives, and then discovering if we are investing our time in what is truly important to us. Noticing when we are overextending our energy and then choosing to moderate it. Letting go of parts of our identities and relationships, opportunities and activities so that we can be focused. Allowing ourselves to be transformed through the descending journey. Creating simplicity through continual refinement. Nourishing our depths through inner contentment. Creating boundaries in our lives. Inner knowledge through self-reflection rather than the information overload that we're often experiencing in our lives. And all of these practices and yoga lessons have been creating this container, this really important container for focus, or as Nichala Joy Devi says, wholehearted dedication. So take a moment now and reflect on your life, on your daily living and the way you spend your days now, and ask yourself, where is your focus? Where do you dedicate your attention? And just be really honest with yourself and notice if your attention is pulled in a million different directions. There are so many things vying for our attention. Our children, our parents, our partners, our employers, or if we are employers, our customers, or our employees, the many people that we are responsible to in our lives. The fact that we live in a consumerist culture means that there are a lot of companies trying to get our attention to spend our money with them. And they play on our fears and insecurities, our wants and our desires. They create wants and desires that we didn't even know we had. And then there is this whole other level that exists in our culture that didn't even exist a generation ago, of social media, which can be this incredible resource as an educational tool that we are using right now. But it can also be this huge wormhole of distraction. If we don't come to the tool of social media and the internet with mindfulness and ironclad focus, crystal clear intention, then we'll find ourselves losing focus in hours and hours of our precious time. So I believe it is through our container, it is through the container we create of our spiritual practice, specifically yoga and meditation, that we can cut through all that noise and all that lack of focus. We can connect with the deep respect and faith in our inner knowledge. Our trust in our true nature and our basic goodness is built every day through our spiritual practice, by taking time out and time away from the busyness of our everyday life, from all those responsibilities, from all those things that can distract us from what's truly important. By creating the space through the container of our spiritual practices, we can then take that focus off our mat and do it in practical ways in our day-to-day life. In taking this wholehearted dedication to whatever our task is at hand, it allows us to bring presence throughout our day. So, for example, when you go to your cell phone, you can take a breath and ask yourself, what's my intention here? What's my focus? So if it's to check the weather, then notice if you go on and check the weather, then great, then you leave and you don't do anything else. But if you continue down the wormhole and start checking social media and email and everything else, then you can ask yourself what needs are being filled by doing this something else when your intention was to come on and check the weather. So it wasn't your original intention to come on and go into social media. So perhaps your intention is to go on and see how many likes you have on Instagram right now. So then you need to stop and say, okay, why do I need to see how many likes I have on Instagram right now? Is that's something that I need to have fulfilled inside me to have some approval? So then, this is the hard stuff, people. So then you need to check in with yourself. How can I create that approval within me, right? Or if I'm distracting myself by going on my phone and going into social media and doing that instead of doing work because I'm too tired to do work, then the question is, should I be taking a rest instead of pushing myself to do work and sidetracking myself and flaking out on my phone instead? So asking myself what it is I really need, maybe I really need a break. And what would be a true break? What would be a true break to nourish my energy rather than spending more time scrolling through social media? You get my drift. So if you're tired and need energy, perhaps your rest could be fulfilled in another way. So just to recap, it's by creating this container on our yoga mat every day, in our yoga practice, in our meditation practice, it creates this strength and this resolve, this focus that then we can take off our mat to whatever it is we're doing. So take a deep breath in through your nose and let it fall out of your mouth. And reflect on how these teachings relate to you in your life. So what is it you would like to receive from these teachings and from the rest of your yoga class today? What is it that you are trying to create, sustain, release, or rebirth in your life right now? And how could your yoga practice today help you to do that? And then once you've formed your intention of what it is that you would like to receive from the remainder of this yoga class, you can begin to wiggle and stretch out. And we're going to make our way back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, just to stretch out our hamstrings a little bit before we come into our next standing posture. So when you're ready, you're going to take your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. You can tuck your toes under. Inhale here. Exhale, reach your hips up towards the ceiling. Stretch out your hamstrings. And then you can walk your feet in towards your hands. And you're going to make your way up to standing. Okay, from standing, you're going to need your block. We're going to do half moon balancing pose. I'm actually going to put my mat right by the wall. So this is why I said you need your wall today. Because you can use the wall for balance. Although I would like you to, I'll show that as a modification, but I would like you to practice balancing if you can, because that's how we're going to create the container of focus for this. So I'll show you modified and then I'll pull the mat away from the wall. So what you're going to do is come into a standing forward fold. And you're going to, so the block's going to be forward of your right foot. And you're going to have your hand underneath on your block. And you're going to open your left, this pose takes a lot of room. You're going to open your left hip up onto the wall. And then you're going to open your left arm up onto the wall. So this is modified if you need help with balance. And it's nice for alignment too. Okay. However, as I said, I would like you to try it balancing. So you're going to come into a standing forward fold. The block's a little bit to the outside of your right foot. You're going to lift your left leg up and behind you. Open your left hip so you can keep your hand on your hip. Keep your eyes on the ground for balance. You can lift your left arm up. So this pose takes wholehearted dedication. That's why I chose it for today's class. You really have to focus to do this kind of balancing pose. And then you can find a way to release that from your body. And then let's do the other side. We'll do it with the mat against the wall again. It's kind of nice how you can find your alignment first and then try it without the wall. It's a lot easier to feel where things are in space when you have the wall. So you place the block down to the front and a little bit to the outside of your left foot. Drop your left sit bone, open your right hip. And then you open up onto the wall. So the wall kind of acts as this metaphor, as our container that I've been talking about, how our yoga practice is this container for creating focus in our life, because when we practice every day, it creates this focus so that we can take it off our mat and have focus in our life. When we have focus on our mat, we can have focus in our life. And here the wall is creating a container for our pose, so that when we come away from the wall, it's easier to find that container too, and have more focus in our pose too. Okay, so we'll try that again. So the block comes a little bit to the outside of your left leg. Fold forward. You drop your left sit bone. You open your right hip bone. So just like in real life, you'll find yourself failing at focusing too. You'll find yourself coming to your cell phone to check the weather, and you'll be like, oh my God, I just spent 20 minutes on Instagram scrolling through when I was just meaning to check the weather. Because we're human beings. And you just had to find out how many likes you had on your last photo. But I really think the stronger and more committed we are to our practice, and the more connected we are to our inner self, the more, as Nikolai Bachman says, the more connected we are with humility to our higher self, we'll have that connection to our higher self, and then the pull to those things will be less. Okay. Whew. Find a way to let that out of your body. And then we're going to come down. And we are going to make your way to a seated balancing posture. We're going to just do a quick balancing posture, and we're going to do seated posture. So I really think our practice creates this container so that the pull inward is stronger than the pull outward. And that ultimately to me is what focus means. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. Okay, so coming to all fours, you're going to take your left leg to the back of the mat, your right leg forward, and then you're going to lift your arm and leg. You're going to take your right arm around behind you, bend your left leg, and hold on to your foot or your ankle. And then you're going to press your foot into your hand, and that'll start to open up your right shoulder so it becomes a bit of a back bend here. And then we'll release that down, and we'll try that on the other side. So this time you'll take your right leg back and your left arm forward. And if you have any issues with wrist, you could come up onto your fist instead. And you're going to lift your arm and leg, bend your right leg, reach around, hold on to your ankle or foot, whatever reaches, and then you're going to lift and open. And then release that down. And make sure you have your strap close by. Okay, there it is. And we're going to finish up with Gomukhasana. I feel like we haven't done this pose so long, and it's one of my favorites. We're going to cross your... I'm not going to mirror you on this one because it'll make me crazy. Cross your right leg over your left leg. And if your right hip is lifting off the ground, then you're going to place a folded blanket underneath it if your hips are tight. And we're going to do arms as well. So internally rotate your right shoulder and bring your right arm up your back. And then you're going to bring your left arm up and over. And if your hands don't reach, then this is why we have the strap. And you're going to walk your hands together on the strap. Okay? And you could also here, if you wanted to, if there's not enough sensation in your hips, you can fold forward here. So this is really great. This is why this class is so great for your hip joints and your shoulder joints and even your ankle joints here. Between this class and the class that I've been filming, the classes I've been filming for our members this week, my body, oh my gosh, they've all been about hip joints and shoulder joints. I really didn't actually realize that when I put together this week's class for Namaste Yoga. I've already had an Epsom salt bath today, and I will be having another one after this. When I film for our members, we do all these brain yoga movements, and so there are all these movements where we're laying down new neural pathways for your body and your mind, and so there are these micro movements that your body's not used to doing, and oh my gosh, this morning when I woke up. Okay, and then you can let this pose out of your body. And we're going to switch sides. So now you have your left leg on top of your right leg. Okay. And you're going to internally rotate your right arm up your back. And this time you're going to take your left arm up and over. So your left elbow will point right up towards the ceiling. And if they don't reach, then that's where your strap comes in. And we will breathe and hold here. And you can fold forward too with a long spine if you're not getting into your hips here. And breathe. So sometimes when sensation is intense, you saw me do it in the last on the other side, we'll check out. You notice the different ways you check out. So I checked out by telling you a story about my past. So bring wholehearted dedication to the present moment, and in the present moment, sensations might be intense. We'll just bring present moment awareness to intense sensations and notice if we can stay with that. Because if we can stay with that now, then we can stay with that in our day-to-day life too. And then release this posture from your body. And we're going to go ahead and rest back for Shavasana. And if you have your bolsters close by, you can take a bolster and place it underneath your knees, which is a nice way to do Shavasana. It gives a nice smooth flow of energy through your body. So you can turn your palms up beside you and just have this really nice rest back in Shavasana to receive your final practice in the Focused Living series. And I'm going to sit up and share with you a reading that I have for you on wholehearted dedication. Okay, so today I have a reading from Jack Kornfield on dedication and peace to close out our Focus Living series on wholehearted dedication. And Jack Kornfield begins this reading by quoting Dasu. And I just wanted to give a little context to let you know that Dasu is a Burmese opposition politician and chairperson of the National League for Democracy in Burma. And in the 1990 general election, she won 59% of the national votes and 81% of the seats in parliament. But she was placed under house arrest before the election, so she wasn't actually allowed to take leadership. She remained under house arrest in Burma for almost 15 of the 21 years from the 20th of July in 1989 to her most recent release in November of 2010. And so she's one of the world's prominent political prisoners. I just wanted to give a little context for who she was, in case you didn't know, I didn't know. And even Tim, who always knows these things, needed a little reminding. He didn't know her name, but then when I gave him the context of the story, he knew who she was. So, okay. So if this reading resonates with you, then great, let it sink in, and if not, then let it go. I bring it to you as around our intention of dedication to wholehearted dedication. So Dasu says, quote, "Honesty requires courage and peace requires courage, because honesty and peace are very close together. To be at peace with yourself, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to know what you are like, and you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then to learn to live with yourself, to be at peace with yourself. In the same way we want peace among ourselves, we have to learn about one another, including ourselves. And that requires courage. You have to have the courage to face what you have to do, as well as what you are, with compassion. And you have to have the courage to recognize the truth in others, even if you don't agree with them. Peace is not easy to achieve. Peace requires change, and change requires a lot of hard work, and hard work requires patience, commitment, and courage." So that's the end of Dasu's quote, and this is what Jack Kornfield says. The inspiration of spiritual elders like Dasu is a mirror for our possibility. Listening to her dedication makes me reflect on what small piece I can best add to the world at this point in my life, and how to do this while staying centered amidst the busyness of our times. I'm going to repeat that. And how to do this while staying centered amidst the busyness of our times. It's a blessing to have the practices of mindfulness, equanimity, and metta, but it also requires enough discipline and contemplative time to keep them strong. And I'm going to repeat that. But it also requires enough discipline and contemplative time to keep them strong. Then we can dedicate ourselves to plant the seeds of mindfulness and love, to bring our unique gifts to our gardens, our businesses, our clinics, our schools, to serve our community and the world. Then we can dedicate ourselves to plant the seeds of mindfulness and love, to bring our unique gifts to our gardens, our businesses, our clinics, our schools, to serve our community and the world. Who better to bring the Dharma or to bring yoga alive where you are than you? Who better to bring yoga alive where you are than you? So as you rest back here, reflect back on this Focused Living series and just notice what stands out to you. What seems most important? How does that relate to you in your life? What's one small thing you're going to do in your life in the next little bit to bring focus into your life, to bring these teachings alive, to bring your yoga to life? Just one small thing. Like Jack Kornfield said, who better to bring yoga alive where you are than you? So gradually wiggle your fingers and your toes. Begin to wiggle and stretch out. Let your breath deepen. Roll to your right side and pause there. Slowly make your way up to seated. And we'll finish our practice with our Lokha mantra, Lokha samastha sukhino bhavantu, with your left palm up and your right palm down, making space with breath and a sigh. Lokha samastha sukhino bhavantu. Lokha samastha sukhino bhavantu. Lokha samastha sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 305 of Namaste Yoga. We appreciate you so much being here. If you like today's show and you're watching on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to our channel, then subscribe so that you get a new class every Friday, our free Friday classes. You can do that on YouTube and iTunes, and then it'll show up in your stream. And if you know a friend or a family member or a coworker that you think would benefit from receiving today's class, then feel free to share this with them. We would love that. You can share it. And you can post this class wherever you want to. We share these with the Creative Commons license, so feel free to share the class. Thank you so much for your donations this week. I want to thank, we had all member donations this week, and these are all actually very special, important members to me. Viola was one of our very first members. She actually does a lot of testing of new, I don't know, she's just really tech savvy. So she tests a lot of our stuff on different media platforms for us, and we really appreciate that. Benny, Benny lives on, no, not in France anymore. She lives on an island. So anyway, Benny's adorable and sweet. I adore her. Ivy, who runs our devotional community in our membership site, and Hannah, who also she's been a long time member, and she does some of our weekly challenges now. So when I put this list together, I was like, wow. And I just think it's amazing that they're all members, but they've also all donated too. So we really appreciate that. We appreciate your donations. And I'm just doubly touched that they're members and they've donated. I know they feel committed to making this available to more people just like them. So that means a lot to me. If you'd like to make a donation to Namaste Yoga, you can click here. You can also donate of your time by leaving your comments below in the comments section. What's one thing that you're going to give wholehearted dedication to this week? So what's one thing you're going to give wholehearted dedication to this week? I'd love to hear what that is for you in the comments below. And I told you at the beginning of the show that I was going to give you a checklist, a quick actionable checklist, because we did a lot of shoulder releases today. And I was going to give you a quick actionable checklist of 3 ways that you can further release your shoulders. So there's going to be a button if you're on YouTube somewhere on the screen where you can click to get that checklist of 3 ways that you can release your shoulders. So click on it somewhere here. Okay. And then you can get that, and it's going to be awesome. And if you want more support in releasing your shoulders and your hips, then be sure to become a member if you're not already. We have 2 series in our membership community. One is shoulder shorts. There are 10 videos in there, and one is hippie shorts. They're member favorites, and they're short 10 to 30 minute videos for those busy weekdays where you can do really easy, quick videos, and you can sign up here to become a member.
Where do they go if they don't watch this on YouTube?
Oh, if you're not watching this on YouTube and you can't get the actionable list because you can't find that. Yeah. Right. Okay, if you can't get the button, if you're not on YouTube, then you can get the quick actionable list at www.melissawest.com/305. That list will be there. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today from beautiful British Columbia. We've moved inside for the winter. It's cold out now. So I'm sending much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as our Pacific Ocean. May you be as strong as our mountains, and may you be as rooted as the trees in our forest. Om Shanti. Namaste.
Melissa would love to hear your questions and thoughts. Please leave your comments below the video. Thank you for your reviews on iTunes and YouTube. Your reviews help us to share yoga and a yoga lifestyle with others around the world. If you have a question for Melissa, you can leave a voice message at melissawest.com, and Melissa may answer it in an upcoming blog.